Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishnan. Basically we are discussing about the part 11 software company has done ban of that particular person. So basically, how basically the software companies basically have done the ban. How just see the plans and how much basically Indian power companies are so powerful. Basically, I will take one example. Basically, USA told that yeah, we will help you, India. We will not allow Sunil R. Nair to get in any of the USA or any of the software companies in USA, and wherever in USA company is located, in wherever in India location, we will not allow that person to get job. That person means that person who basically has banned basically in software industry. So basically, why USA, Russia, China basically are so afraid about the Indian decision basically, and why they supported this decision? Why they have supported this decision? That basically there might be some reason, right? Because USA say that we are the most powerful country in the world, and we are so very powerful, and we are very powerful in technology, in software and computer also. Then also, why basically they are telling that we basically we will support India and Indian power supply companies and power companies and energy companies basically. Sorry, the human resource and the Indian software company basically. Because Indian software company, why I'm not telling this directly, because Indians are power companies and Indian energy companies never come into picture basically. USA only knows Indian software companies and Indian human resource people. So basically, human resource are so power because human resource have connected with are connected with directly with power companies and energy companies. Basically, by default, it's default basically, and Indian software companies also. So basically, USA is telling that India is very powerful. How? How basically they are telling that India is very powerful. So basically, here the reason is whenever basically when computer is getting boot, that time basically one power supply chain is passed to the computer. That time basically according to that exact power supply chain, if you are passing, then only the computer gets boot, and then only the Microsoft operating system gets load, then only the Excel file gets load, then only the Word file gets, then only the Notepad gets load, then only the Microsoft.NET gets load. So that exact power supply has to be passed, then only the computer is going to boot, and then only basically the each and every software is going to run. So this is that. So basically, USA say that we don't have that much power. Basically, we have created Microsoft, but we don't have that much power that we can load that exact Microsoft operating system, exact .NET, exact ASP, exact text box in the basically in the web browser. Basically, I will take one more example. One text box is required. One text box required thousand cities creation. So basically, in other language, thousand cities has created this text box. Basically, that also you can say. So basically, to load that text box in web browser, thousand cities power supply is required. Basically, then only that control is going to load. Otherwise, that text box is not going to load. But this type of scenario IT industry have never faced. Why? Because basically nobody don't know this. This type of scenario never has occurred basically, and they basically mostly the people will. If I will tell that one text box is created from thousand cities, then nobody will believe this. Why? Because this has never occurred, and this has never. It's not there in any of the book. Also, basically, you can say if you search this in any of the books, which who basically has printed the thousand books, 2,000 books, whatever books, you can't get that basically. So here the point is India is telling that we have the each and every computer's power supply chain information. So basically, for example, I will take one example. In USA, there are 20 crore computers, and India is telling that USA is telling that if we want to boot that computers, then we require the India's help basically, because India is passing the power supply to the 20 main power supply basically. There are basically many countries who are also passing the power supply. That also we will see later on basically. So the basically 20 crore power supply is 20 crore computer has to boot. Then basically India is the main country basically who is telling that we are supplying the power supply to the computer. Then the basically computer is going to load, otherwise that is not going to be load. So this is the reason basically why USA is telling that we are going to support you, India, Indian software company, and Indian human resource, and we are going to ban that particular guy, and we have banned that guy. So like same way, basically Russia also might have seen something, China also might have seen something in India, basically Indian power supply and in energy companies. Basically, whenever the USA president visits the India, then basically Indian Prime Minister say that we can see the few areas of the India power basically up to what level India power is. That time basically they might have seen something basically like this. Basically, India in USA told that yeah we are going to ban that particular guy because we don't want our computers to be switched off at the same across the world. Basically, we don't want our 20 crore computers to be switched off. Basically, so like this, basically USA told that yeah we are going to ban you that guy, and they have banned that particular guy. Like this, basically, Russia also supported, China also supported that particular Indian software companies and Indian human resource. Here, basically, I am just taking human resource and Indian software company. By its default, it's a energy company and power companies also, power companies only, because they are only passing the power supplies to Indian software companies and Indian human resource group basically. So basically, Indian human resource groups are basically connected with these people with the Indian Power Company and Indian Energies companies basically. So basically, this is basically a part. This is also one of the part. In next part, basically, we are going to see more about how software companies telling that we have banned that particular guy.